Am I actually recording this for a second time? A recap of Sister Wives season 19, episode 3, all the while probably having a diverticulitis attack? This episode will be unhinged. Oh, I can't even tell you. It's so late at night. Now, of course, you're listening to this like Monday morning. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Sarah Fraser Show. I'm Sarah. And we have a lot of new listeners here. So we're going to do a really brief like intro of who I am because people are like, who are you? And were you on Married at First Sight? I'll tell you about that. But why am I re-recording? Why am I re-recording Punch Drunk? My recap of Sister Wives season 19, episode 3. Am I my brother's keeper? I'm re-recording it because we learned that the wedding, this mysterious wedding in Las Vegas that the first half of last night's episode was all about, is actually Logan's, Janelle and Kody's oldest son. So why they didn't say that, I have no idea. We're going to talk about that. Kody basically saying that Ariella I mean, the strangest moments of the night, right? Kody riding furiously on a bicycle like a 10-year-old to a candy shop in all black and a visor. I mean, I need to replay it 8 times. And then Kody saying, yes, my daughter Ariella came to me and said, Daddy, I don't like Christine because Christine left my daddy. And Kody goes, I reprimanded her. But then I thought, she's so loyal. Can I really reprimand her? I'm sorry. Anyhow, welcome on Mondays on TSFS, the entire season of Sister Wives. I recap the episodes. And if you are new here, thank you for listening to the podcast. I podcast 7 days a week. So subscribe to the show, come back. I love pop culture and reality TV. I'm a longtime radio host. I started my career in Washington, D.C. on The Kane Show, which was wildly popular, a morning radio show, and then Sarah, Ty, and Mel. And I've also worked as a TV entertainment contributor for years on Fox 5 DC. And then a couple of years ago for season 16 of Married at First Sight, I did their couples couch with my husband and their after party and their kickoff shows. So oftentimes when you Google who is Sarah Fraser, Married at First Sight comes up and people often say to me, oh, did you and your husband, were you guys on Married at First Sight? And I was not. But I love to pretend like I was. So anyhow, thank you for being here. I cover a lot of different pop culture and reality shows. I'm obsessed with Sister Wives and TLC shows like Thousand Pound Sisters, I Love a Mama's Boy, which is back, and so much more. And lots of times I have interviews with these fantastic people over the years, from Mary Brown to, oh my gosh, Yara and Jovi from 90 Day Fiancé, so many more, Kimberly. And then I also love to just indulge in the fun gossip and rumors. So this show is, if you love a little fun gossip and rumor and could this be true, you've come to the right place. Try to be accurate when we can. And then I just never do rumors that hurt anybody, but there's so many fun ones around 90 Day Fiancé and Sister Wives, including, are they dating wives from Mexico? Are they buying a $3.7 million home, which, by the way, Kody and Robyn did not buy. But that was an emergency podcast I had this weekend. But we do know the owners, and they are not Kody and Robyn in Flagstaff. It was like this insanely gorgeous house, but not the old Codester and Rob Meister. So let's get into this episode, which opened so strangely. And like I said, I had done a whole recap for you guys. And then I started searching online and we found out whose wedding it was, which it was Logan's, right? What was so bizarre is this episode opened in such a lazy manner by my friends at TLC, where they just start talking, like Christine and Kody and Robyn are just talking about a wedding. I don't remember them even saying a family member. It was just somebody close to their family is having a wedding. They don't want any press there. They don't want any of the drama, Kody basically says. And Kody and Robyn are debating if they're even going to go because they know how hated they are. So when you're watching last night's show, like I originally did, and you don't know whose wedding it is, I thought it was another plural family's wedding. I didn't at first realize it was Logan's. So I thought to myself, Well, that kind of makes sense that Kody and Robyn wouldn't go because I can see it would be awkward. It's kind of the first time the family's all coming together since it's fallen apart. Like that seems, yeah, like they wouldn't, that would be strange, right? And then when you realize it's their actual sons, you're like, why? Like, of course you would go. How was it even a debate for Kody and Robyn to not go? You know what? We're not going to get the attention we want. We're not going to be feeling the old good vibes. So we're not going to see our son's wedding. What? Oh my God. Okay. But, for the first 15 minutes, we go through this strange sequence where they all are alluding to this wedding in Vegas without saying whose it is. So there's some ambiguity and debate. By the way, Christine and Janelle in this episode, gorgeous. Not in their like one-on-one confessionals, but at the wedding. I'm sorry, Christine, like the talk up to the wedding, so her one-on-one interview. Oh my God, the hair is like on point, blonder than ever. Face is tight. I was like, okay, girl. And so is Janelle, but of course she's mother of the groom. Then we like briefly pop into Coyote Pass. And for the first time, we hear Kody say, Janelle's not going to build here. Mary's not going to build here. And so he's out there with like a measuring tape, like a surveyor, scouring the land. All right. And again, I have a theory. It's just my theory. There is no proof to this, but I believe that Kody and Robyn have already bought out Janelle, and I think they're in the process of buying out Mary. I do. And the only hunch I have about that is when Mary did my show, she said she couldn't talk about Coyote Pass because of the business aspect of it. Oh. And here's a little, oh my God, more drugs for me to take. Okay, the allergies are crazy out here in LA. So I just have that theory that I think we're getting a setup that Coyote Pass will be fully Kody and Robyn's. Okay. So the first half of last night's episode to me was really good because it really, every single episode, we're getting more and more of at least the family's full feelings of them being final, right? And final in the sense that Christine's not coming back, Janelle's not coming back, Mary definitely ain't coming back. Although Kody takes any chance he can in these episodes to jab at how he was never in love with Mary. He'd never want to do her again. He never would date her again, right? Like, poor Mary. Like, what did Mary do? I hope Mary ends up with the hottest piece because, man, every scene that he can possibly remind everyone of how so much he wasn't attracted to her. And is it possible for him to put her in a barn dominium? He sure does. He sure does. But it was sad because the first 15 minutes of the show, they do talk about how Aspen's wedding was the last wedding in 2019 when they were all a family, when they were a team. And Kody's a bit sentimental. Christine's a bit sentimental. And Christine even says to us, she says, I thought at this point I would be with Kody forever. It was before they moved to Flagstaff. Flagstaff really remind me not to take my husband and my husband brothers to Flagstaff. Kiss of death for plural marriage. So they moved to, all was amazing. It was beautiful. And the wedding, Aspen's wedding, the filming that they did, there's this beautiful shot of Garrison you see. They all look great. Christine looks amazing. The wedding takes place in Vegas. We don't see any shots. So isn't that interesting? I guess, Logan, they don't find any good use for the old Sister Wives show. I don't know why. I mean, it's so interesting to me, right? At least for, I know they don't want to be public like Logan and his wife, but they're missing out to me on a huge opportunity. My own 2 cents. So Christine says that she can't. So this was what was great too. I did feel like we saw and heard some regrets from Christine, a very different Christine Brown we're getting this season than we got in season 18. In season 18, we got a feel in herself, Christine. We got a divorce is good. I tell people to get divorced. It's great. Laughing in their faces, how absurd Robyn is, how absurd Kody is. But Christine's like, I think she's humbled herself a little in season 19. Now, people, there's been some Reddit threads and conversation that this is going to be the season where Robyn redeems herself a bit and becomes, I don't know if Robyn and Kody could ever be fan favorites. I don't know what they'd have to do at this point. anointed by the Pope, maybe. Probably not, because people don't like their religion, so who knows? John Smith himself would have to come back and say they're the prophets. But anyhow, this is supposed to be Robyn's season where she becomes a little bit softer, that she becomes a little bit likable, and Christine is more of the villain. Are we seeing that setup? It kind of looked like it last night. So Christine says that one of the things she's most bothered by is she doesn't want to know what people in the family are saying about her. It drives her nuts, and she does not want to know what people have to say about her. I was shocked because, Christine's out here giving everybody her 2 cents and how awful Kody was. I didn't think she cared. We hear the details of this wedding that we don't see of Logan's, that Christine and Janelle sat together. They didn't really talk to anyone. Janelle looked freaking amazing. The makeup, the face, so great. And Janelle says Kody spoke to her briefly, but that was it. And pictures now have surfaced online. So Kody and Robyn were saying, oh, we're going to sit in the back to hide from everyone. We're not liked. We've been kicked out of the family. Cody's got this whole thing. And then there's pictures. Guy is like second row in an aisle seat. So he didn't do that. He didn't do what he said. Kody and Robyn, I think, sat pretty much almost up front, almost completely up front. But Kody does get emotional. And I will say, I'm skipping ahead a bit, but there was absolutely that scene where Kody is playing Jenga with his 2 children, with younger kids with Robyn, and then the couple of older ones. Dayton wasn't in the shot, but he does look pretty happy, I will say that. But Kody gets emotional a bit because he says that he really didn't talk to Janelle the way that he wanted. He says that he, had to, he inserted himself a bit into the event and it was so uncomfortable. He didn't speak to Christine. And then Kody said it was a bit of a fun off, that there were family members there. I'm sure he's alluding to Christine, but it almost sounds like he was alluding to his kids who really, they kind of put the fake fun on. They wanted to one-up him in the fun department. And we know what he's like at a wedding. But he describes himself at this wedding as being, people were trying to fake their emotions and look like they were having so much fun. And Kody is going to call him out. So Janelle says that, even Janelle says that going to this wedding felt so final. She's still processing. It brought up a lot of emotions for her. And now, in a shocking turn of events, Christine even says in this scene, in these moments, she says divorce is actually really hard. And Kody even has a moment of, I think, a little bit of connection where he says he wishes in hindsight when Christine asked him to move out. Although, I mean, honey, when has anyone ever asked you to move out and it was a good sign? But he basically says, when Christine asked me to move out, I didn't think she was serious. And I wish I had taken it more serious. You think? That's usually a big sign. That's usually, especially when y'all have gone to therapy and didn't really work and she wants your ass out. That's not really a good sign, okay? That's not a good sign. That's what happened. And then we go to this, of course, Kody's still in his Picasso blue phase. And, he's the victim of this whole thing. And we see probably one of the best meme and epic shots of the entire season so far. And hopefully it will be carried with us, where Kody is furiously riding a bicycle like a 10-year-old on the way to a candy store or a after-school baseball pickup game, all in black and a black visor with the ramen noodle hair coming out of the top. It is so good. And I saw somebody online say the amount of times that TLC does these shots to try to make Kody look masculine, because he's always chopping down a tree. They're like, is this man, who is orchestrating this? Is this Kody? Is this man's dingling size so tiny that he wants to always be in these action shots in a car, in a convertible, on a 4-wheeler, cutting down a tree, on a tractor? And now he's on a bike. They seem to actually be kind of emasculating him slightly here. In years past, I feel like he's been on more macho equipment, but not last night. He was on a dinkly little mountain bike, honey, pedaling into Lord knows where. And this is where, again, he takes the opportunity to remind everyone that if he had to do over again, he would never date Mary ever again. Thank you for the reminder. I'm sure she appreciates it. Oh my God. We need a drinking game at this point. How many times can Kody still remind us and tell us that he dumped Mary years ago and he wants nothing to do with Mary and she's not attractive? So then we go to the one scene that I did think I saw Kody and Robyn. The first time I've seen Kody and Robyn super happy, in 2 years on the show. And that is they're sitting around playing with most of their kids. Dayton's not there. And the other line that I thought was so funny on someone's Twitter was someone goes, they couldn't even go and get Dayton from the RV out in their driveway to bring him in to play Jenga. Because, Dayton is living in an RV. We know this from people who have toured the property and the realtors have told them. Well, I couldn't. But I'll tell you what, in this scene, you know what I realized about Robyn? Because everybody says, oh, Robyn doesn't do anything. Robyn can serve one hell of a tray of caramel apples. Did anyone notice this? She came in like a royal regal there. She had that tray and she just set that right down and all the caramel apples were just displayed perfectly and she served those up. I thought to myself, you know what, Robyn? When this show goes away, you'd be like a hell of a hotel maitre d'. Just, how they'll come around with a tray at the high-end places, glass of champagne. That could be Robyn's second career. But I actually enjoyed this interaction. As someone who, covered reality stars for so long, I just don't have these strong dislikes for any of these individuals. I find them quirky and amazing that they've shared their lives all these years. So I suspended my own personal beliefs for a minute and I thought they seemed very happy. They seemed like a family. Kody was saying he loves being with them, and I thought it was obvious. You take that scene, and to me, I don't think Kody and Robyn are having any marital issues. They look connected. They looked happy. She was kind of poking fun at him. And, Kody's saying he loves being at home with Robyn's kids, with Saul and Ariella. And he said, then they kind of get into this murky water, right? So we see this kind of scene where you're like, oh, yeah, I see it. I see that they're a family. And I mean, certainly, I'm sure very hurtful for some of the older kids, 100%, because you can see he's very happy in that home with them. I mean, heartbreaking. I'm sure many of you guys listening to this had step parents or parents that went on to create other families. And you looked at them and you were like, oh, I want that. I wanted that for me. That scene I thought was hard, but also reflected who they are. And then Saul and Ariella are already used to living separate lives, according to Robyn, and now Robyn is saying she's actually questioning, do I really bring up to Saul and Ariella that they have other siblings and that their other siblings, are around because the other siblings, don't want to see them as much. They're disconnected. So it's almost more hurtful and there's more questions when we do talk about them. Okay, Robyn, wrong answer, girl. Wrong answer. It's all documented on TV for one. Okay, so these kids in like another year, in fact, now, I mean, they're basically 15, are probably watching the previous seasons and hopefully launching a Patreon like the rest of us. Okay, so they already know they have siblings. All right. No, it's your responsibility to still try to mend a fence. Tell them maybe they have a relationship with their older siblings without you guys. Whew. And then we go to Janelle and Christine to discuss the separation of when they moved to Flagstaff. And once it became Robyn's house, it was like a whole different set of rules. And Janelle reminds us that when her kids went over to Robyn's, no one was even allowed in Robyn's refrigerator. That was how strict the rules were. And then Christine says that her kids knew from the jump that Kody was into Robyn and says that, they knew from the very beginning, once they moved into that house and got settled, that Kody was over there more often, more into Robyn's kids. And Christine just said it was a feeling they had from the start. And then this is the infamous moment where Kody gives his 2 cents and kind of says, yeah, Ari had said to us that she didn't like Christine because, she left daddy. And Kody basically at first, he's like, oh, sweetie. And then he's like, but I can't really say anything to her because she has such loyalty to me. Dude, this ain't Game of Thrones. Huh? She's like young. Talk to her. She shouldn't have these like types of crazy feelings already. And by the way, you guys know this. Most of you have kids. I mean, if Ari is feeling that sort of angst towards Christine, then she's heard conversations in that home of dysfunction. Don't you think? Don't you think? All right, for 1 second, let me just pause and thank an amazing sponsor here on YouTube, and that is OneSkin. You guys, I love you. Thank you so much for frequenting my sponsors. Just pick one sponsor for my show, buy from them, use my discount code. I would love you so much. And I always try to get you the best deals on unique products that actually work. Now, I always tell you to do your own research as well, but OneSkin is one of the top skincare longevity companies out there. What's the amazing part about OneSkin is it goes beyond the surface level to zap those zombie cells with their OS1 peptide that's proprietary. It was created by female scientists. Hey. So they wanted products that don't just like plump temporarily, but actually work. I use OneSkin, their eye cream and their face cream. One of the things I love about it, as I am trying to have baby number 2 with my donor eggs, is it is fragrance free, which is so great. It's healthier for you, in my opinion, and their products are tested. And in a clinical trial, 80% of people that use their products saw results. Go to oneskin.co, use the promo code TSFS for 15% off your fabulous order. That's oneskin.co with the promo code TSFS for 15% off. So anyhow, that scene is where it like all goes to heck. And then they also, Kody and Robyn kind of use Ari as their excuse as to why Kody couldn't get away and spend more time with Christine and Janelle and Mary. And they say that Ari would have such meltdowns that Kody couldn't be away from her for 3 to 4 days. And he had to be there because she would sob and she just wouldn't let Kody leave. And Janelle's like, no, you guys are just bad parents. You're shitty parents because our kids knew from the jump, this is what it was, that they were going to be sharing their dad. And if we had to explain it to our kids and help them and work through it, you could do the same. But you guys chose not to because Kody wanted to be with Robyn. Oh, the burn. And Kody would have all these excuses, over to Janelle, why he didn't want to go over to Janelle and Christine's. He'd be like, oh, I'm so sick. I'm tired. And Janelle's like, yeah, you could be sick and tired right over at my house because we're married. Sort of. But anyhow, great first half, I thought. And, much more insight into the family, right? Much more insight. The Ari conversation, the Logan's wedding, which at first we have no clue who the hell's wedding it is, but now it's been revealed. And then we move on to Mykelti and her C-section and her babies, Archer and Ace, who, by the way, I think now they're like 14. I'm kidding. They're two. But you know what I'm saying? These kids I think these kids are speaking. Like, haven't they started pre-K? We're that behind. But Mykelti does not want to have a C-section. I understand, girl. As somebody who had a C-section, I know the recovery a lot longer than I hear with the vaginal birth. And Mykelti's over being pregnant. We find out she's not really into it. Dr. Bing is there. He's cool with them all being polygamous. And we play back that scene where Christine had just pumped out Truly or was pumping out Truly. And Kody was already asking Dr. Bing for the best IVF doctor for Mary. And he's looking at Kody like, what? How about we celebrate one life that we've just brought in here and pump the brakes? And both he and Christine are like, no, it's all good. Back in season 1. Does everyone remember this? So I think because we know so much about Mykelti and Tony and they do their Patreon, I guess I wasn't so much into this scene, to be quite honest. I kind of lost interest at this point, but the thing I thought was interesting was Janelle standing up for Mykelti and referencing social media and how Mykelti has taken so much heat for defending Robyn and Kody. And Janelle says it's unwarranted, that truly Robyn was there for Mykelti and Robyn really helped give Mykelti a voice in her middle school and high school years that she didn't have. And Robyn really helped her get heard. And what was it that Mykelti wanted to say? Okay. And it would be helpful. And this is where I'd like production to hit him with a follow-up. And why did Mykelti feel like she needed to be heard? Anybody? What needed to be said? But Mykelti starts to cry. And I thought, it's sad now. We know that Tony and Mykelti are not as close to Robyn and Kody after Garrison's passing because of something that happened at the funeral. And so I thought that was a nice moment. It was a nice moment. I thought it humanized Robyn a bit. And it was nice to see a moment of Janelle, Christine standing up for that relationship and the weight that Mykelti and Tony put on themselves. So we know Mykelti's heart rate spikes prior to the C-section. Tony gets to come into the room and, they were obviously terrified, but Archer and Ace are born at 5:31 and 5:32 and are doing great. Which twin was born first? Does anyone know? I always love a twin dynamic because there's always one more dominant twin. There's always one hellion twin, and the other one just goes along with whatever the twin wants. And that twin bond is so damn strong. Oh, I love a twin bond. So I just wondered, I'm curious who the most dominant twin is. But Robyn and Christine, there was a lot of hype up about this, like the two of them coming together. Were they going to be able to be in the same room together? Well, clearly they were. We didn't see much of that or any interaction, really, just them both holding the babies. And, Robyn sheds a tear. Robyn be sopping. And she said, I really wish that this moment with Mykelti and our grandsons were under different circumstances. And then we find out Robyn's going to spend the night at the house. She's like sleeping in the closet per the preview for next week. And, the most interesting, I thought, part of this was Avalon, meeting her brothers. First of all, she goes for the eyes. I mean, Abby knew from the beginning, she thought, okay, you know what, boys, let's just temporarily blind one of you. My kind of gal. She let them know. She meant business. I have a younger brother. We're 18 months apart. I don't know what age it was, but my mom loves to tell this story at every holiday event. But, I was not thrilled with my parents having another child. And at one point, I think my mom was changing my brother, went to get a diaper, and I brought over a pair of scissors and I was going to hack off his Willie because he didn't look like me. She stopped me. Yeah. Don't ask me what kind of pair of scissors this was or where I got it. I don't know. This was the late 80s, folks. Okay. Early 90s. It was when shit like that still went down. Oh, God. But anyhow, I could really connect with Avalon in that moment. I understood. And then she really loses it when she realizes that these two are not toys and they're not going back that night. Yeah. And then, of course, Kody has to get his 2 cents in. Because, Avalon, they're saying, well, Avalon's a little jealous, And Cody's like, yeah, it kind of reminds me of like Christine when we brought Logan home. She was so jealous of Logan. And Christine's like, no, I actually wasn't. It was my first year of plural marriage. And I was really trying to get used to having other sister wives that, let's be honest, she wasn't always as close with Janelle as she is now. So anyhow, I mean, he always has to get in a little dig. Tony's mom was there. I wanted to hear more from Tony's mom, honestly. And there you have it. And Mykelti's settling into her life. The preview looks awesome for next week, by the way. First Thanksgiving that Kody and Robyn are going to have without the sister wives and some of their other kids. And the other thing is that scene they preview where Robyn says to him, Kody, I'm losing respect for you. You need to be camping outside your kids' doorsteps and your family's doorsteps and getting this family back together. So is this the moment that Robyn begins to, I don't know, maybe fall out of love with Kody or start to gain a little bit of empathy from the audience? We will find out next week. So there's your recap. A lot more Sister Wives tea and gossip to report all week long. I'll have a full update because Maddie Brown, they're launching Tay-Dot, and she's getting ready to have baby number 4. Okay, girl. I'm jealous. I'm over here trying to have a second. So we'll get into all the gossip on Wednesdays. I do TLC talk on the Sarah Fraser show, but tomorrow, Olivia Plath from Welcome to Plathville, just in time for the season finale tomorrow night of Welcome to Plathville. And she gives a huge update on if she is, in fact, divorced from Ethan. We'll get into all that. Bye, everybody.